Welcome to Amazon Answers. I'm Jared, and today we are discussing the children of Wonder Woman because, as you guys know, I hate Trinity with the fires of 1,000 exploding stars. What's up, Cameron? And today we are going to talk about the many children that Wonder Woman has had throughout DC editorial, whether or not that's Elseworlds, in continuity stuff. Yes, Hunter was screwed over. We'll talk about that. Again, this is going to cover like Elseworlds and in continuity to demonstrate number one, that Wonder Woman has had a kid before, so Tom King is not the first to do that. And two, it's been done infinitely better than he has. That's the thing. Whenever Tom King tries to innovate on things and he tries to treat it like he's the first to do something, about 9 times out of 10, it will have been done previously and infinitely better. So actually, Cameron, let's start with Hunter. So Hunter Prince was introduced, and this is in continuity. Hunter Prince was introduced in Justice League Volume 5 Legacy and Rebirth. Now, he's a little controversial, and I'll say that because here's the problem with Hunter Prince, the way he's born. Now, when they announced that, when they teased the arc, I remember this vividly because I posted on Facebook about this. When they teased it, they represented it like he was the son of Superman and Wonder Woman. And the thing is, and Britt has brought this up, it's like, so Brian Hitch had said that his origin was heavily edited. And then it's like, when you look at the way that his origin was set up, number one, and number two, how Diana is drawn, it kind of makes it look like he was meant to be the actual biological kid of Superman and Wonder Woman. It's just this was Rebirth, and the Rebirth fans were, well, I've complained about Rebirth DC plenty of times. So that's number one. Number two, here's the problem with his origin. So in this arc, the children of the Justice League have to go back in time to stop an apocalypse from happening, because in their world everything is like destroyed and stuff. So here's the problem with this. When you Hunter's origin is that there was this great darkness creature that let's just say, you know how Anakin was like, had no father and stuff, and he was like an immaculate conception per se. Yeah, that's what happened. So the darkness R-worded Diana, and that's how Hunter was created. And then continuing on, Diana left Hunter with the Amazons, or like with Clark, went to Paradise Island and offed herself. So I'm like, why was that ever a thing? Like, I don't get, why was that ever like an approved story? Because that's the problem with that. It's like you could, because here's the thing, you could have just kept it where the father's Superman, because guess what? This is in all likelihood an alternate future. So if it's an alternate future, who cares about who's the father? You know, this is probably not going to end up this way. And another solid, he's why DC hates one of them. Yeah, they think that that's the only way that they can create compelling stories for Wonder Woman. And I go, maybe the people making these decisions should not be in charge of Wonder Woman if that's the storylines that they keep going with. Like, no. But here's the problem with this. The character in and of himself still works, but the reason why, again, another example of the reason why I think that they were supposed to be like that Hunter was supposed to be Superman, Wonder Woman's kid, is that if you look at the way it's drawn, I'm going to pull up the arc so I can show you guys, because there's something subtle about the way that Superman and Wonder Woman are drawn. And I'm like, if it's edited, this is why, hey, if the text is edited and you have to change the story, maybe you should adjust how the scene is drawn. Because look at this, people. I'm pulling up the arc right now. Rebirth. Where's Justice League? Okay, I'll just bring it up. But yeah, it's it's really strange when you actually like look at how this is done. All right, so here we go. So I'm gonna go to volume. This will be easier to find. Legacy. Here you go. And this is volume 5, by the way. So then what we have here, everybody drop any of your questions about like Wonder Woman's kids, and I'll get to them as we roll out. By the way, so here's the thing. So this was the first image that like we saw of kids. And as you can see, Hunter Prince has Amazonian bracelets, the lasso, and Superman's cape. And it turns out, so the way the story goes is after Wonder Woman left Hunter with Clark raised him as like an adopted brother of Damian. And I go, okay, but here's the other problem. Okay, so at the end, well, actually, wait, I can show you this. So they meet, the Justice League's kids meet their parents. And if you notice, each of them are like accusing their parents. And if you look at that, it's like they're each looking at who their parents are. And who is Hunter looking at? Clark and Diana. Like they could have easily fixed this, but no, they really had to assassinate, and they had to assassinate Wonder Woman. But look at this. All right, so the kids are leaving. And if you look at like the way this is arranged, so Superman and Wonder Woman are close together, like right down here. But then if you look at over here, Clark's arm is clearly around Diana, and Jessica's arm is around Barry's arm is around Jessica because let me know if you guys can still hear me because I think I went out briefly. All right, there you go. All right. So here's the thing. Here's what I was talking about. If you look at the way this is drawn, doesn't it look suspiciously like they're meant to be together in like a dating relationship? Okay, now I'm good. Go ahead. Isn't it interesting how the way that particularly this upper panel looks right here? Like, look at that. That looks to me like, again, but here's the problem. If it's supposed to be edited, if it was heavily edited like that to get rid of him being Superman's kid, why didn't you change the art? Like, that is very interesting there because it's like, why? Yeah, it's that's the problem. It's like when you have to edit, I'm like, you have to change the art. You don't just change the text because this gives mixed messages. So I'm like, interesting how that ends up. But yeah, and then Hunter was never seen again. We're meant to imply that either the future was the future maybe was undone, or that maybe they didn't exist anymore. The funniest part of this story comes from here. This is the part that I will forever love this story for. So it's a Steve Trevor moment. It's a very good Steve Trevor moment. So Steve goes, this is so good. Of course, Steve has to make it all about himself, but he goes, Hunter, huh? Diana's your mother. So who's your father? And then Hunter just goes, not you. I just love the not you. And I'm like, he. I love perpetual. I also love the perpetual sad sack face that Steve has, because he is the perpetual sad sack. He is going to be a sad lantern one day, which I really think that would be utterly hilarious. Yeah, but it's like, and they never do anything with it. Hey, what's up, Javier? They never do anything with this. But anyway, so that's that story. That's Hunter Prince. And all in all, short of his origin, I don't like the origin of like how Diana got pregnant and stuff with the darkness R-wording her. But when he's actually here, I'm like, okay, there's some really interesting stuff that you can do with the character that I think really works as like a kid, because I've always felt like Wonder Woman having a son on the surface is an interesting idea. Doesn't mean that it's always going to be done well. Yes, Hunter is edgy. Yeah, I know. But it's like when you look at the origin that he came from, of course he's going to be edgy, but it's like maybe he like learns to soften up and stuff. But that's the thing. It's like that's on the surface, I like the idea of Wonder Woman having a daughter. I mean, a son, because it's like it's interesting. Okay, so she's the queen of the Amazons. How does this work? How does that like work with her having a son? However, returns with John and excuse me, with John and Lara, because with that you saw like the tension between the Amazons. Why is it that why is it that when Diana has a kid, it always has to be an R word? Because who's in charge of who is in charge of DC, my good friend? Who is in charge of that? That is a good point, NJ, is that they, with all the errors that DC has made with Wonder Woman, are you surprised that people don't really trust her? Or like that? If there's one character I do not trust like DC with, it is Wonder Woman at this point. But yeah, but it's like it should work. On the surface, it's an interesting idea. The problem is with the current crop of writers, they will use that to undermine Diana. That's why, honestly, I am like more in line with Diana not having a child, period, because I think that she works on her own. She shouldn't have a child, and she doesn't need a love interest. Anyone that wants to force her to have a love interest should not talk. That's all I'm gonna say there. But but it's like the other things that this works with is, so with Lara and John, you see that like Lara was raised purely with the Amazons, and then the Amazons in this universe are very aggressive and such. Diana's less aggressive, and they also had to make Lois the mother of. They just had to make her the adopted mama. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, remember, this was during Rebirth, and this was post-Crisis Superman, I think. Wait, what was this post-Crisis Soups? Hang on, let me see the costume. No, it was Reborn Soups. So it was in the crap reality that like Superman Reborn made, and which is why I don't get. They try to treat Roman like garbage. Well, yeah, because they don't put people on the book, Tavia, that understand her character. They just put them on there because like, whatever. You wrote this character, that's close enough, and then it always explodes in their face. But with John and what's her name? Oh yeah, Lara again. So with Lara, she was raised wholly with the Amazons. And here's the thing. Now with that, I was like, okay, the Dark Knight Returns Amazons. Okay, that makes sense that they would be the overly aggressive Amazons because everyone is overly aggressive in there. I actually lost count how many children Diana's had over the years in mainland. Yeah, they keep trying to do it because apparently Diana has no value as a character unless she's a mother. Because that's what these people believe. So here's the thing. It's like, now what makes Lara a better character than Trinity? Well, because Lara goes through the character arc of like, well, first off, Lara would never, outside of like sparring, strike her mother. What has Trinity done? Struck her mother, like punched her. Like, I'm sorry. I know Tom King keeps trying to copy Frank Miller, but you're not copying what made those characters like good. Do you think Jim Lee's art is at fault? If he leaves, could that solve 90% of the problems? Okay, remind me, what book you talking about? Because Jim Lee is not drawing any Wonder Woman books right now. If he, wait, okay, I got it. Do you mean like him being a leader? No, it's like you need better editorial in the Wonder Woman office, because Jim Lee can do whatever he wants, but it's like it depends on if the editorial themselves will actually execute on it. Because so far he could say anything he wants, but it's like if it's not properly executed by strong editorial, guess what? It's not going to work. Hey, what's up, Britt? And I'm going to play Britt's intro.
He's back.
Britt says the only good kid is Jonathan 2, Laura and John, and the unnamed baby from Act of God. Hunter is tainted. Okay, yeah. That's why I said Hunter is very controversial for a lot of those reasons that I brought up earlier, and it's kind of yeah. But anyway, it's like, why does Laura work? And Britt, you can weigh in the chat if you want. But it's like, it's also because the thing about Laura is that, yeah, she goes through the arc and she learns how to be a better person. And again, she doesn't strike her. It's like there's more in there that make you like Laura than against. The problem with Trinity, and this is why it's going to be hilarious when it's all adult Trinity all the time, because I want to see, okay, is Trinity actually going to learn a lesson about like what's going on? Because it's going to be very interesting if like she is still is like, even the Trinity mini series didn't work and she's still the overly aggressive B word that everyone hates. That's going to be very fun to check out, because and Robert was right about something, is like the reason why people the public opinion on Trinity is that not a lot of people know a lot about her because she hasn't shown up that much. But it's like, once you get adult Trinity over and over and over again, written by Tom King, it's gonna fall apart. Laura has the attitude she has due to circumstances of fear of being hidden. Trinity's just a brat. Yeah, that's true. And again, Laura, outside of sparring, has never struck her mother. So it's like, you really can't do, or like being misguided. But it's like with Trinity, it was basically like she's doing it because she wants to be better. And I go, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work at all. The more that, see, here's the thing about Laura. They never tried to force you to like the character. All they ever did was like just show you cool images of the characters. That's it. Just show me like, here's the thing. Don't tell me that Trinity is awesome. Show me Trinity is awesome. If you can't do that, then I'm sorry, I guess the character just doesn't work. Jared, I was wondering, how would you write a son or daughter of Wonder Woman? Well, Britt and I are doing just that in one of our stories that we're working on. And I'm not sure how much I want to say on that, but the thing is, you have to, let me put it this way. Just look at what Tom King is doing, and I'll do the complete opposite. In other words, I'll do it well, which is like, what you do is you make it so, first off, you don't make Wonder Woman's daughter like another Wonder Woman, because that is very like, it's very like cliche, if you will. And Brittany Hollister, do you agree? I think that, let me put it this way. Either she needs to actually edit Tom King, because it's been demonstrated that she kind of doesn't. But here's the thing. She edits a lot of books. Like she's a good editor on all of the books short of Wonder Woman. That's it. So it's like, they need to get her to edit the books equally and actually care about Wonder Woman and actually edit Tom King instead of letting him do whatever he wants. Or yes, she has to leave, because it's not good for the character to keep doing that. It really, really, really doesn't. And Tavia, that's what this entire stream is talking about. But it's so with Laura and John, the thing about it is like, yes, Laura repeats the same character arc in 2, 3, and Golden Child per se, but it's like she keeps being reminded about why mankind is worth saving, and then she ultimately saves humanity from Darkseid, and that's the thing. It's like, when you deal with like here's the thing. If I were to write Trinity being retconned out of continuity, but I don't want to do it like completely pantser, here's the way I would do it. In the future, Darkseid is going to destroy Wonder Woman with the Omega beams, and Diana can't evade or something like that. Like, she is like out of it. So, and the Omega beams wipe people from ever existing, by the way. So that's what that does. So what happens is Trinity jumps in the way and gets blasted by the Omega beams and wiped from continuity. That's the way you do that. So that way you give her a going out thing that seems like, yeah, we're not trying to straight up like, we're not trying to disrespect the character, even though she deserves to be disrespected, but we're getting rid of her because she was a mistake. That's kind of the way you would do it. Laura still hates her mother. No, she doesn't. She doesn't. That ended in Golden Child. She well, actually, in the Master Race, she stopped hating her mother. So I don't know where that's coming from. So that's the thing. It's like, and here's the thing: what you really need, you need also someone that understands the Amazons, because too many writers, and this is why not Tom King, Frank Miller made Laura overly aggressive, because he thinks that like the Amazons would be overly aggressive when they really weren't. Like, I would argue they would. Well, of course they would like be suspicious of her daughter, of like their princess having a daughter, but I think that it would like they would eventually warm up to it. Hey, Robert. Hey, and Laura backpedaling what from what she was learning in Golden Child. Yeah, but she never hated. But Robert, she never hated Diana. I don't think so. That's the part that I was like disputing. But it's like with Trinity, she has yet to backpedal anything. Golden Child kind of brought back the status quo of her disliking. No, it didn't. It didn't. Where is that in the book? I'll tell you what. I'll get the book, because as far as I know, she doesn't hate her mother. She thinks her father's naive, but she doesn't hate her mother. Yeah, no, she did. She did not hate. She did not hate her mother, NJ. I don't know where that's coming from. The only thing she did is you could argue she dislikes humanity and then thinks that like that her father is like, wait, they backpedaled on her being above humanity and not wanting to understand them. Yeah, that's what they backpedaled on. But so and then with John, obviously John in this universe was cool, and he was like I like the images of him just hovering, his hands in his pocket, like he's standing. And it turns out he's like ridiculously powerful, which it makes sense that the children of Superman and Wonder Woman would be like ridiculously powerful, that they could take on Darkseid. So that's where I'm like, okay, I can believe that. I could believe that. See, here's the thing. I could believe like maybe like what's the character, Lara taking on like all of Wonder Woman's rogues, because I've seen I've seen feats that roughly translate to how powerful she would be. Elvis John was an anime protagonist. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He was an anime protagonist. That actually is an excellent way of putting it. But yeah, so those are those kids. So now we're going to get to Hyperman, which is the son of Kingdom Come, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And what's cool about this character is so at the time of DC continuity, there wasn't a multiverse. But what there are, no, you didn't, Robert? You did not miss me talking about Stevie. In fact, if you would like to join me, I'll send you the link. But for Hyperman, so the way continuity worked back then with Kingdom Come is that so there was no multiverse. What happened was, but DC still wanted to tell Elseworld stories, so instead of it being separate worlds, they were just separate like timelines. That's what Hypertime is. It's like a multiverse with timelines. I know it's technically still a multiverse, but just go with it. It's comics. It's comics. So in the Kingdom Come universe, what had happened was, so Superman and Wonder Woman All right. Yeah. All right, Robert, I will send you a link. Sorry, everyone. It's just the internet is kind of out of it right now. All right. So let me send Robert the link. All right, Robert, I DM'd you the link. But yeah, so think about it. It's so you get John, who is Hyperman, and again, he's the defender of hypertime. And the way it works is, and Robert's here, so let me pick a good intro for him. Let's see. All right, you know what? Since we're not doing Superman, I'll go with the karate one. Hey, what's up, man?
I wish I was that good.
All right, so explain hypertime and like Hyperman to everyone.
Okay, for hypertime is more like first of all, it was done as an alternative, so they didn't want to bring back the multiverse. So they decided to come up with an alternative to explain how things connect. So think of hypertime like a river. Main continuity is the main, stream, but like a river, it can branch out in different directions, hence the different timeline. Sometimes those branches intersect to the main river. Hence, when you get moments like, of references or cameos or deja vus. Like in Batman the Cult, how they gave him pretty much the Batmobile from Dark Knight Returns. That's a case where the Dark Knight Returns timeline, just briefly intersected and influenced things.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is what hypertime, let's be honest, hypertime's a lot more convoluted than the multiverse.
Yep, as much as I think the multiverse is convoluted, this is 20 times convoluted.
But even Jeff Johns, when he started doing the Flashpoint Beyond, made it clear they're two I like what he said. Space and time both have their own type of crises. And when time happens, it's always having to catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get, so the timeline is being disrupted. So Kingdom Come, Superman and Wonder Woman go back in time or cross over to another timeline.
Even though they think it'll wipe out their world.
Yeah, they pick up main Superman and Wonder Woman, and then they go to like where hypertime is, and you see like this great panel that's like a mosaic of all the different timelines, and then you see like John shows up. It's another John, and it's like he's Hyperman. He's the defender of hypertime.
You see, at first you think he's the Bam Stranger.
Yeah, exactly. At first,
I didn't like that.
Yeah, exactly. So then from there you get, so now we're going to talk about the real daughter of Wonder Woman, Stevie.
Yep, and let's be honest, the only good one but so far between Diana and Steve.
Yeah, because you know why? Steve dies.
Okay, it's more than just that, dude.
I know.
But yeah, okay, basically in Superman Batman Generations 2, the second one.
Created by John Byrne, by the way.
Yeah, done by John Byrne, written and drawn. Basically, it's a case, as we've gone over it many times already, timeline moves linearly, starting from 38, 39. As in, so they all are aging. Generation was about billions of gaps and introducing more of the DC universe beyond Superman Batman. So first we had Diana. She just showed up during World War II. Then we jumped 11 years forward, and during that time, she and Steve got together, and she's pregnant and about to give birth to their daughter. At the same time, Lois and Clark's second child, their daughter, is born at the same time, which ends up mattering later on. But during that point, while she was pregnant, Diana used a time-displaced younger teenage version of herself to be Wonder Girl to help out. But then Steve died in a crash, and so Diana decides, I'm going to raise my daughter and call her Stephanie or Stevie for the nickname. And
she is a so much better character.
She is. For one, she's definitely an Amazon. Now, she's raised by Diana, as far as what we can see, she had a normal upbringing.
Yeah, she was just a regular kid, and that's fine. I like that.
Yep, but she still wanted to sneak out and join up with her friends. Laura and Bruce Jr.
Yeah. The other thing I really like about it, so the cool thing about Generations is, so the main heroes, like the ones that we think of, are the Just Society.
Yep.
So it keeps that. The kids become the Justice League.
As opposed to the Teen Titans.
Which, when you think about it, it makes sense because the Justice League was so. Since we're in a timeline, especially now, where the Society and League both exist and existed in the past, it makes sense because the League is supposed to be the second generation. Well, second, if you will.
And I love how, of course, it's like the new Justice Society. Ugh, I hate that word. Sounds like a bunch of people just sitting around having tea.
And that's a reference to why Julie Shorts called it the Justice League, because he was like, kids don't like society.
Now, in the main mini, Laura got killed through a big machination of Lex Luthor. And that drove, at that point, she and Bruce Wayne Jr. had just got married. They had been in love for so long. And it drove him off the deep end. Big time. He was representing the dark, gritty 80s Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
So what Stevie right at this point, she's an adult. She was out fighting for thousands of years before she returned. That explains why she wasn't there to protect Laura. Mm-hmm. And what that eventually leads to them deciding that she's the leader of the Justice League now, and said, we have to go take him down. We have to take Bruce Jr. down because he's gone nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
And we actually see she kicks all kinds of butt.
Yeah, but she was Generations 2, right?
Yeah, Generations 2, just 2. If you want, I'll get the scans.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, so it's like the other thing that's, again, it's really good about this character. It's like, see, the thing about it, as you guys know, I had a very negative opinion about John Byrne. Now, on Superman, I still have that opinion, even though some of the stuff he did was not his like choice, but I still think he handled it not the best. But his Wonder Woman run and his handling of Wonder Woman, in my mind, is beyond reproach.
Yep, hold on. I got, because I know you want to show off that costume, right?
Yeah. I'm going to show off everything about her because and the thing about it. So here's the thing he did. He made this character. Also, Robert, you know what's interesting about this? What he did better than King? Mm-hmm. Diana was a mopey for decades because Steve died.
Right here. I got the image. Right here. Now, they don't make it clear, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did kind of shelter Stevie a little bit during her youth. I wouldn't blame her.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's like, at first, yes, absolutely, because of what happened to Steve.
Yeah, and look, right there. You see images of his plane and him up there. Like, of course, she's going to have something to remember him by, but clearly she still raised Stevie well. Enough that Stevie still knew she can kick butt.
Yeah, of course she would teach her kid how to work, like, and that's the Justice League forming.
Yep. And then,
show the and then we get the more adult costume, which that's an infinitely better designed costume than Trinity has. Because here's the thing about that costume. It's more unique and it's not a ripoff of other Wonder costumes.
Yep. And yeah, she puts up a good fight. Now, this was the first time I ever found about the whole that she loses her abilities if she's shackled by a man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But she still kicks his ass.
Yep. And I love it. Combat skills come from training, not power. And my strength is still greater than a normal human. And by then, eventually, she said how she had been locked away. She spent 1,000 years in ancient Greece until she came back. Mm-hmm. Well, but for her, it was 1,000 years. She was only gone 3 years normal time.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's like you and that's what Adrian Fahrenheit tape says. What was Laura with the blue hair? Laura,
that was the Dark Knight version. Yeah.
Dark Knight Strikes Again. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
She was the daughter of Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yep. But
the other thing I want to make clear, notice I'm praising a technical daughter of Wonder Woman and Steve. So it's not about I only like the daughters of Superman and Wonder Woman. I'm fine if like she has kids with another person. It just has to be written well.
Heck, you probably wouldn't be mine so long as it's written well. Her was Bruce. If it's written well.
It's still with Bruce, so that would be a little bit more of an adjustment.
I'm saying it's from the future is what I'm saying.
Elseworlds, okay, I can tolerate that, but mainline continuity, even in the future, I still can't. I can't.
You know what? Technically, there's also Zod in the Batman Beyond. That counts.
That counts. Yeah, let's talk about that.
But but what can we agree on? Stevie is definitely.
Stevie is so far my favorite. She is the S tier.
She is definitely the S tier because she definitely had burned for what little. She didn't use her much, technically. She only be born, teenager, this much an adult, and then dead.
Yeah, but in that small amount of usefulness, it was like, oh, okay, I really like this character.
Yep, and I just love that look here when she's, like right there, like, nope, hold on, like, I'm aware, Carrie. And I just love that.
And I love the giant eagle on the chest.
Yep, must poke her arm something fierce.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Yes, even NJ agrees she's the best daughter. I know.
For what little we've had of her.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? The daughter of Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman is the best daughter.
And but look at this, Alan Scott, who, keep in mind, is keeping his use because of the ring. It's willing to take orders from her.
And by the way, no, she didn't in Dark Knight 3 because Diana kept telling Laura to stand down.
No, that was the thing. She did not listen to her in either one.
In either one, she did not listen to her mother.
Yeah, it was only
in 2, her mother was trying to hide her, and she still showed up. And in 2, and in 3, her mother's like, "Don't side with the evil Kryptonians."
And she's like, screw you.
Yeah, so no, she wasn't siding with them. But yeah,
right.
But
yeah.
So let's talk about Zod. All right, so in this one, which is considered canon to the DCAU.
At least so in the comic version of it. I don't know.
Quasi-canon or something like that. The point is, so this is building off of the Justice Lords episode. Yep. So Wonder Woman. So here's the thing. In this universe, Wonder Woman couldn't get to be with Batman. So with main Batman. So she went to the crime syndicate Earth to like, well, actually not crime syndicate, Justice Lords Earth.
Yeah.
Get into a relationship with Lord Batman. Lord Superman found out, killed Lord Batman, and then Wonder Woman killed evil Wonder Woman, and then was forced to marry Lord Superman as a like peace treaty.
Yep, hold on. I'm looking up the issue so I can find the cover that has him on it.
And I just go, what the hell? It's like the more that they do this, the more it's like it's like every single time they do more with the DCAU Wonder Woman, it never ceases to astound me how badly they screw the pooch. Like that will never not like surprise me.
Exactly. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it.
No, it's all good. But yeah, it's like with that, it's like I just don't believe that even that Wonder Woman would do. She would sooner take down Lord Superman.
She would sooner. I hate this. Going along with someone else. They try to seem to they keep pairing her up with in a later book with Darkseid than Lord Superman.
Well, yeah, and in that it was an alternate Superman #1. I mean, an alternate Darkseid, even though that doesn't necessarily make sense. But the other thing that they did really well is like, even in that, it's like at the very least, well, I still don't like it. Let me be clear. At the very least, they have Wonder Woman softened Darkseid.
Yep, but which to be fair, that technically goes back to Super Friends.
And it's interesting. It even goes back to like our worlds at war when Wonder Woman put a portion of her soul into Darkseid. So now he has a little bit of niceness.
I got it. I got the image. But yeah, here we have Zod. That's the son of her and Lord Superman. Here we go.
Yet another crappy attempt at Super Wonder. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm definitely not.
This whole arc was just stupid.
Honestly, that whole series was kind of dumb.
Yep.
Like the part of like, so let's take main Wonder Woman and just throw her into the crime syndicate. Not have her destroy like. Not have her like destroy, like take down Lord Superman. No, she's gonna marry him.
Now, I will say that the only thing I will say that I kind of liked was that if she murdered someone with the lasso, it would crumble.
That's something.
I did like that, at least. That idea actually has a lot of merit.
Has that ever been a thing, though?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. And I'm like, but here's the thing.
I'm just saying, as an idea, I like it.
That's an addition that actually makes a lot of sense for like who Wonder Woman is. But here's the thing. It's like, it should be more like if she murders someone, because it's like, again, if she has to kill someone, she has to kill someone.
I know, but I'm saying it's murdered with the lasso.
Yeah, exactly. So that actually works really well. That actually works.
Yeah,
Really
so
well.
it's like it's like murder in general. It's not going to do it. Murdering with like putting blood on the lasso. I can buy that.
Yeah, I support that. I do support that.
Yeah, but that's the only good thing I will like about it is that.
Yeah, but so it's like here's the thing. Now, Robert, actually, I want to ask you how should DC make a child of Wonder Woman work?
Okay.
If they really want to do it, how would they make it work? Because so far they're like 0-500.
I know. Yeah, Stevie's the only real good one.
And the funny part about Stevie is that they haven't done that much with her. So if they could do more with her, we could see.
She should have been what Tom King was going for.
Yeah, exactly. But the other problem with Stevie, I mean, sorry, with Trinity is like as compared to
her
Stevie,
personality.
let's do that. Well, ignoring the personality thing, because Trinity will always be lassoed, pun intended, to Diana being so depressed about Steve dying that she like tortures people.
Yeah, at least with Stevie, she was born with the same day that Steve died.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing with Steve, with that Diana moved on and was still Wonder Woman and acting like her regular Wonder Woman self, not being like a villain practically.
Yeah, exactly. Not being like a villain. And I mean, Grant, we don't know if she kept being Wonder Woman. Again, that's the one downside with the constant jumping. We don't know what happened in between.
At least she came back. But here's the thing. She still sounded like Wonder Woman when we saw her.
Exactly.
That's
the
difference.
Big difference. But yeah, again, and what did you say about the first few you went over? Because I wasn't here for those.
So I went over Laura and John, obviously, and I went over Hunter Prince. The problem with Hunter Prince, because he has a good concept, the problem is, you could tell he was originally supposed to be the actual kid of Superman and Wonder Woman, but that got edited out. But here's the problem with that, Robert. They didn't edit the art because there's a shot when the kids leave of Superman with his arm around Wonder Woman. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to edit it, fine. At least change the art.
Yeah.
But the problem with Hunter is the story of his birth.
Agreed.
The fact that Diana was R-rated by the Great Darkness, pretty much. That's it. And she says she still does not have positive feelings toward Laura from Dark Knight Returns. There's just not enough love and respect between them. Well, in their defense, they didn't do much with that mother-daughter relationship. That's the other thing. Besides,
oh boy, I just realized 2 other kids of Superman and Diana from horrid Elseworlds.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that. So the brief point where we see the kid. Here's the thing: I can't count the kid from Act of God because we never saw anything of that kid afterward.
That's true, but there was another one though from Distant Fires, but it ended called Bruce Kent, but he ended up being put into a pod as Earth is being destroyed and he's sent off to some other planet.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. And then Adrian says, did Steve get old after Crisis on Infinite Earths? Well, when he came back, he was an older gentleman who was like more of a friend to Diana, not a love interest.
Exactly. But he didn't get old.
No, it was like when it's like they adjusted the timeline. So when he found Wonder Woman, he was older. That's the key point there.
Now, I just want to point out, technically, if you go by the end of the Thy Kingdom Come in JSA, we also found out that he and Diana actually had four kids.
Like multiple kids that would later join the Legion, which I really like.
Mm-hmm. But we brought up Act of God. As far as we know, he somehow got psychic powers.
Yeah, which I get. It's like maybe like it didn't really take away their powers. It just like suppressed them, and then like the DNA, because Clark would still have Kryptonian DNA at that point.
Technically, JLA created equal. Technically, you had a kid with almost every female hero in the DC universe. But the only one that was any different was the one he had was Power Girl, because that's the only daughter. All the others are black-haired young boys who act no different from each other. Mm-hmm. Even the one he had was Lois. No different.
So that's where James Gunn got that idea of a harem.
No, except in this case, dude, this whole book was Why the Last Man mixed with the DC universe?
I know. I'm just making a joke. I'm just making a joke.
I know, but I'm just pointing that one
And
out.
Adrian says, "Who is Bruce Kent?"
That was from Superman Distant Fires. Basically, the post-apocalypse had happened. Everyone's power who did survive, their powers are wonky. He and Diana got together, had a son. They named him Bruce after Bruce because Bruce died during all. And then Billy went crazy, killed Diana. Somehow tapping into his powers as Shazam caused everything to go reignite the damage done to the Earth's core. Earth is about to blow up. So Clark decided, I've had a good life. I'm just gonna I could go with my son, but nope, he's going off.
Adrian says, "Wait for where was it? I thought Diana was pregnant."
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come shows what happened after that because she and Clark had more than one kid.
Now I don't think the one that showed Thy kingdom come. Technically, I think that John is separate from the one from the kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. But still, it's like they later had multiple kids. That's
I don't think. Besides those ones, there really aren't that many others.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's all good. But yeah, it's like the thing about this is like, the other thing that I really am always confused about is why they keep trying to push for giving Diana a kid. But then I remember it's like, well, what King said, because Batman and Superman have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that seems very creatively bankrupt.
Yeah, it does.
Which that's this run, and this run is defined by creative bankruptcy. But yeah, but it's like, so the other thing is like, now in terms of Wonder Woman having a son, the thing about that, it sounds good on paper and it would work Elseworlds. Honestly, as much as I love the idea, as I would appreciate the idea for a Wonder Boy or like Diana's son, I don't think the concept works for modern continuity, particularly. Here's the thing, Robert, tell me if I'm wrong. If the fan base is not going to accept Diana having a male kid that later inherits a Wonder title. You know what I'm talking about, bro.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Thy Kingdom Come was published in what year?
Oh, that was around 2000. Hold on.
Yeah, it's more recent, I think.
It was during Jeff Johns' JSA run. So that was from 2007 to 2009.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So during that brief time, you had Earth 22 Superman flying around.
Oh yeah, that was in whose run was that, Jeff?
Yeah, that was Jeff's run with Alex Ross helping out.
Yeah, because I think I have the trade where
that's where we found out about Gog.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, but it's like, and everyone in the chat, who is your favorite kid of Wonder Woman? It doesn't have to be Superman and Wonder Woman. It can be just
Stevie,
Wonder Woman.
as I said.
Well, yeah, Stevie's mine too. Because yeah, I like Laura, but I didn't see enough about her and Diana's dynamic to really see that. Stevie is the example. Stevie is the anti-Trinity.
Definitely.
That's the thing, because it's the same setup, but done infinite. Like it is astounding how it like is how it. The reason why I wanted to do this, because essentially it is okay. I wanted to do this episode because I want to show that every time King tries to do something original, it's either been done before or it's like, DC can't even handle her having a daughter's, let alone a son. That's the other thing. I don't necessarily trust DC like handling a son of Wonder Woman, because they would make the son the central character. Look what they did with
Trinity.
So it's like, ultimately, this is one of those ideas that I just don't think should happen. Or like, if it does have to happen, then just do it in Elseworlds. That's fine. You honestly, I don't think Wonder Woman needs a child.
Right.
What do you think?
Doesn't need it, but I'm not against it.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's hyper dependent on the context and the story. Well, let me this way, I wouldn't trust modern DC continuity with a child of Wonder Woman, as is demonstrated. But by the way, it's like, so how would you say, because we were also talking about how like I was saying that with Brittany, because NJ says she has to go. And here's the thing about Brittany. I think that as we see with like all the other books she edits, like Superman and all that stuff,
New
she's
history.
fine. Yeah, she knows how to do it. The problem is like
it's because of Tom. It's because of King.
It's because of King. It's like if she actually edits and checks King, I think the run would probably still be cringe as hell, but it wouldn't be as like utterly offensive as it is.
Agreed.
At least in my opinion. And because it's like,
I think just don't fire her, just get her off the book.
Yeah, just take Wonder Woman away from her and give it to someone that's gonna check King and make.
I want to point it out. She didn't come with King. She was on the book before King.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to make that clear to everyone. She was on by the time of Wilson's run.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like then she became like the head editor of the like editorial group that includes Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's like, because
I just want to get that part out of the way so no one thinks that she came with King. Like, no.
Yeah,
the other way around.
Exactly. But it's just like the issue is, again, she lets her friendship with King go back, like interfere with her job as an editor, because half of the stuff that happens in this run, she should say, can you not phrase it like that? Because it doesn't sound the best, or like it makes Wonder Woman look evil.
Exactly.
Like,
again, she does know her job. She does know her job.
Yeah, the Superman stuff is great, but is she the main editor for New History?
Co-editor.
Yeah, I was about to say, by the way, I told Britt last night because she didn't know that the same editor for New History is the editor of JSA. And when I told her what Mark Waid said about like they're already like,
yeah, that's why he was a little peeved.
Yeah, and then Britt goes, "Oh wow." Like she,
yeah, because
wow.
Mark told me that how he rolled with it. He's like, okay, obviously, again, like that's why I use the analogy of they made a slab of marble and they can chisel away at it. It's not a house of cards. You pull one, everything's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's not like all of a sudden like they do the clay origin, let's say, in that, but then everyone's like, no, it's the Zeus origin.
Yeah, they didn't go that bad. Again, it's in the JSA year one. It's adding to it.
Yeah, which okay, but it's like, when does adding become a contradiction, though?
Well, that's the thing. But you can't be absolute that you could never contradict it.
Well, yeah, it's just I would have liked if they waited like at least a couple of months before they contradicted.
That's true, but the fact is, and again, the book, as Wade said, New History was already completed by the time this was allowed through.
Yeah, and then the Kingdom Come kids are the best. Yeah, besides Hyperman, we didn't see a lot of them too. That's why I don't have them that high.
Yeah, that's true. No. I think they could mean all of the second generation.
Yeah, but we didn't. All we saw about them was like a montage.
No. I'm talking about second generation of all the hero kids, like Kid Flash, and Iris as Kid Flash, and all of that.
But it's like the Kingdom Come kids.
That's what I said. The Kingdom Come kids.
All right, I guess so. Like they're still better than Trinity. Well, that's not a high bar, though.
Okay, so maybe they are talking about the Superman Diana kids. But again, I'm not going to go that far because, again, like you said, we don't know anything about them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one part where I'm like, okay, let me put it this way. They could be great. I love Hyperman. I just need more about the other kids before I'm willing to make that determination. Because I'm not like they're better just because it's Super Wonder Kids.
Now, I will say this. Again, between Trinity and Laura, for me, that is a hard thing to say.
The other thing is with that, let's talk about that. Because the thing about Laura as compared to Trinity is, at least first off, except for when it's appropriate, Laura never struck Diana.
Okay, not counting that one, you're all right.
All right, well, let's put it to you this way. Laura never really, Laura only saw herself above the human. She didn't see herself above like her brother.
No, she cared for her. Out of everyone, her brother was the one that she was still willing to defend, even if it wasn't her parents.
Yeah, but it's like with Trinity, she sees herself above literally everyone.
But at least there, though, I always got the sense of it's just more of an ego compared to a superiority complex like Laura has.
Which we'll see. By the way, Robert, I brought this up earlier. The thing about the Wonder War arc that should be very interesting is because it's taking place only in the future with adult Trinity and teaming up with Diana. Because remember, it's like the thing about Trinity as a character is that besides the Trinity book,
Yeah.
And NJ knows she doesn't see herself as above her mother. Where is that coming from?
Yeah, where is that coming from, NJ? She never said she.
Tell
Well,
us.
there was some. Okay, there are some lines that could imply it.
Yeah, but I never took it that way. But it's like with this, because Robert, because remember, it's like short of the Trinity thing, we haven't seen adult Trinity that much. So it's like now.
But that was always been one of my arguments.
But now with this, let me put it this way: I fully expect her to be the same adult Trinity that we like. Because here's the problem, Robert. You notice that most of the Trinities that we've seen in the Trinity series have been either kid Trinity or like toddler Trinity.
I say kid, teen, adult.
Yeah, but we haven't really seen adult Trinity that much.
Beyond the mini.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is the potential because, again, it's like put it this way. He'll never be able to redeem the crapshoot that was earlier adult Trinity, but maybe he can minimize the damage. But or in all likelihood, I could see it being where it's just the regular adult Trinity being a total B word. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It could be.
Yeah, we'll see what. Hey, that's why I told you I think King was going to do the whole go. I predicted this that he was going to go to the future.
Well, yeah, and the fact that it's purely in the future means that he doesn't have to. That it's unlike that, like everything in the Wonder War arc, we can just ignore as soon as it's over.
And NJ, she'd have to either choose to leave or royally botch something up. Fails is not always enough, especially when DC's always trying to hold on to what editorial they can. Let me put it this way.
Actually, King would have to do something so egregious that it causes such embarrassment that DC would be like, who let this through?
Exactly. But here's the thing, though. Eddie Berganza, it took until they could not even hide the bad stuff he did to finally get fired.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it takes a lot more for that to happen.
It takes either major fiscal reasons to do it, and she just got the short end, the short straw, because that's what happened to some of the other people, or her choice, or something really horrific happens under her watch.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like
basically, in other words, it's not going to just be that easy.
Yeah, it's not like by the way, people not liking King's Wonder Woman is not enough because here's the thing: she's good in the other books.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, let's take for her to leave the Themyscira editorial office. Again, that will require a lot more stuff to explode before that particular thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen, but it's not like of that like opinion. But it's like no, it's like NJ. It just means that she has preferential treatment to King. I'll tell you what. Let's give her.
She handled her, including Conrad and Wilson and Orlando.
After King leaves, let's give her a shot to see if she actually does this. Because if she's a better editor, like if the Wonder Woman book is like better edited when King leaves, I mean after King leaves, then we could say she's fine. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, like I said, she handled Clune and Conrad.
Oh, and QT brings up another good daughter of Superman, another interesting character of Wonder Woman, Fury from Earth 2.
Oh, yep. Yeah, another Steve and one, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, Robert, because people think that Steppenwolf actually slept with Diana. Didn't happen.
What?
Because when Steppenwolf says she's his daughter, I'm like, he stole her.
Yeah. You're talking about Earth 2, Laura.
Well, it's not Earth 2 Laura, it's Earth 2 Donna.
Donna, you're right. Sorry. I'm thinking about Laura from pre-crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I thought Fury was evil. Well, at first she was evil, but
if you go with that version.
Yeah, at first she was evil, but then slowly she became like essentially this version of Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I thought she had a pretty cool character arc, and it plays off that idea of Diana being a female Fury, which I always thought was actually kind of cool. Speaking of Fury, Lyta Trevor.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I was talking about. Now, unfortunately, we cannot see. Okay, given everything that's gone with Gaiman, who knows how they'll be able to use her now? That was one of the few cases where Jeff had to completely jettison a storyline because Gaiman did not approve.
Yeah, I see that.
No, you do know that's what happened, right?
Mm-hmm. But if DC Comics did make her father Steppenwolf, Diana would be even more ruined. Yeah, exactly. They didn't actually. I figured they wouldn't be stupid enough to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like in that, I always felt that story was like really cool. Plus, that's also the series that really made Jorge Jimenez a household name. That in Smallville really helped him. But yeah, with that one, it's like another good. That's the point about this. You can give Diana a like daughter, and it's still like work moderately well. Here's the problem. Again, and Robert, I know you'll agree with me on this. With King's ideas, most of them are okay ideas at worst. It's just then when it comes to execution, that's when it completely like implodes.
Exactly.
Like, here's the thing. Again, it's like it either implodes or does not work with Diana, like the King of America, and it's like that doesn't really work. But it's like when you deal with like, okay, Mouse Man, that could have worked, but it was just boring and stupid in some parts. And by the way, no spoiling the Wonder Woman book yet, because
please don't. I'm going to be reading this week.
Good. Just make sure, because I can't wait to see this. Brittany allowed this stuff to get published in Wonder Woman all because of her friendship with King. She doesn't deserve the job. Again, she had other writers that did better. I'm not at the place where she should not be allowed on Wonder Woman, period. I'm not at that point. I could get to that point, don't get me wrong, but it's like I'm not personally, I'm not at that point yet.
Exactly.
And here's the thing again, it's a lot easier to get a writer off the book than an editor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fact here, because it's like, yeah, it's easier. It would be easier to get King off Wonder Woman than to deal with this.
Exactly.
But it's like, as far as like where we could see this going. So here's the thing. So the Trinity series concludes in December, and then in March we start like all
this coming week. It concludes this coming week.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. Oh yeah, because it comes out on Christmas. It's just in time for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens because here's the thing.
Yeah,
go ahead.
NJ. She also allowed other things to come about good on other books.
Yeah, so
again, you can't just fire her just for the Wonder Woman stuff.
Or it's like remove her on Wonder Woman. She was responsible. She also edited a lot of other good Wonder Woman runs. So it's like I've gone over a bunch of them. It does like the character.
She's the one who allowed the Clay origin back.
Yeah, and NJ, how do you know she doesn't like the character?
She's been on the book for almost a decade now.
Yeah, every editor is allowed one bad run. I'll give it that. One bad run. Okay, fine.
Yeah. NJ, we are talking about Wonder Woman. Yes.
She approved the Clay origin coming back. She was the editor going back to like Orlando and Wilson. And I've talked about how those runs got a lot of stuff really right.
Exactly. So come on, NJ. You cannot just simply say she hated the character if she was on it before King.
Yeah, exactly. That's of
course, NJ might blame her then for Hippolyta becoming a goddess.
Which, yeah, you could blame that. I'll give you that. But
like again, that's also going off of ideas given to her by the writers. Not like it was her idea.
Yeah, exactly. So it's now there are sometimes when the editor has the idea and just tells the writer to write this, but it doesn't really strike me as that one.
Here's the other thing: we don't know if it was higher ups who told them, "Okay, you're going to do this because we want Nubia to be in charge."
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot more complicated than we all think it is.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, as far as where I see all of this lasting, so there are So there are three scenarios. Yeah, exactly. Cameron says to wait and see. Let's not hit the panic button. If she, let me put it this way: if the next Wonder Woman run is bad, then I'll say we can start blaming her.
I'll say it as well. If she hated being on the book, she wouldn't stay on the book.
Yeah, she has all the because she could have just left to go be an editor on Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so let's talk about this. So in conclusion, now where do we think that like this whole story is going to go? Now there are three scenarios that will probably happen. Two or three, let's say.
Well, we're going to actually get what you've been begging for, Diane. You know what? Time out a second. I just write something. Could this be why he's been focusing so much on Trinity with Steve? Because he knew he was going to have this arc?
What do you mean? Explain.
He knew he was going to have an entire story, an entire Wonder War, so where he could have Diana with Trinity, and he just didn't want to spoil it until this moment of having this was their first interaction.
I would believe that, and that would work if the series were not literally labeled Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman.
That wasn't King's call. That was probably marketing's call, and I do not blame.
No, but still, if you know it has to be called that, Diana has to show up more than one issue or in a poster.
Here's the thing, though. Could have been just written as just Trinity, and then marketing added it on afterward, and he wasn't going to just go and rewrite the entire run just to match it.
No, let me put it this way. Trinity series at all should have included Diana more.
That's what you would have done. That doesn't mean he was under any obligation to do it.
True. But then again, this is Tom King we're talking about. But
oh, yeah, that too.
The thing is, here are the couple of scenarios that I think are going to happen. Number one, he still writes Trinity as the annoying character, and thus more of the fan base turns on her because it's not like, because here's the thing. Here's why this is the make or break for the character, Robert. There's no cute Trinity or corgis to shield.
Yep.
So, and this is adult Trinity. So if the fan base hates adult Trinity or Trinity as a concept, I got news for you. She ain't lasting.
Now, this could also be like what being with her mother, who's younger and hasn't, and all that, might actually get a chance to get her back on track.
True, but this is also the scenario in which, like, Diana is still, like, depressed because Steve died.
True.
That's the other problem. Now, continuing, and now in this scenario where the fan base further turns on Trinity because it's like the adult and she's still written horribly, this is the occasion where I'm like, where they won't, like, let me put it this way, either way, they're not going to explicitly retcon her away. They'll probably just ignore her. I would be very surprised if they retconned her out.
I'm positive they're going to ignore it. Again, the worst that's going to happen is we won't be seeing this adult version, and they'll just use baby Trinity as a redo.
I still say because here's the thing. If this is going to be the time thing, because this story is going to involve time travel, the thing is, the ending that the ending scenarios that I could see is they go back in time to stop the whole thing from happening. In other words, stop Emily from, like, going to that bar, or say.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about that is that retcons out everything else that happened afterwards.
True.
Like, Steve is back to life, but Trinity doesn't exist.
That's true.
That's the thing about time travel. Now, the other scenario is, again, and Robert and I have talked about this before, the whole idea about how they stick her around as a baby and essentially reboot the character. The problem with that is you still have the Steve Trevor origin where it's like he's involved in the Clay origin.
That's true.
Unless they get rid of that and, like, severely retcon how that origin goes. And here's the thing. New History talked about where, like, Steve is involved in the origin. So that's the problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Again, we don't know. Let's see what happens at the end of Trinity book.
Yeah, exactly. Or let's see what happens at the end of Wonder War. Because it's, again, Robert, I was talking to Britt about this, and I think I talked about it with you off screen. It's that Trinity War, if they're going to end the run, the King run, this is the one that they could do it.
Exactly.
Because it wraps up all of it wouldn't be like he's leaving plot points open for, like, other writers to have to deal with. This is this opportunity to wrap it all up, particularly since he changed his mind and said that Sovereign was always meant to be the main villain.
That's true. Now,
I mean, yeah.
I was going to say was, right. But I was going to say was now, but let's also be fair that there's nothing in here so far that says this is the finale arc so far. We got to keep following the solicitations going forward.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying that, like, if they were going to do it, this would be the opportune time to do it, because
Agreed.
at the end of this, it just wraps up all of his arcs. And this is the biggest, like, this is the most natural place to put an end, because
Agreed.
the entire story is leading to supposedly leading to the matriarch.
Agreed. I completely agree with you on that one.
And again, I want to reiterate what Robert said. Nothing's confirmed as of yet. Nothing is happening on that front. Obviously, we'll pay attention to the way they solicit, because if they start saying stuff like it all has come down to this, or the run culminates in this story, then I think there's a good chance.
But we won't begin until we get closer.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, again, and this is something that I really want to like emphasize to people: do not act like Wonder War sounds like the final arc considering the big bad is matriarch. That's what I'm saying. Sounds like it. Could not be. But
here's the other thing: is sometimes some runs where they get up to what they've been building up to, but then they keep going afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, we have to wait until late again. And now let me be clear. If it happens where the next few, let me put it this way, pay attention to the language of the following solicits. Because if they start saying stuff like, let me put it this way, obviously, if they say that like the run comes to its epic conclusion in this story and issue, then it's over. That's why, again, Robert, isn't it hilarious how people thought that Stephanie Williams was going to replace?
I know. You and I rolled our eyes.
Who said that?
And you and I both rolled our eyes at it. But here's an example. Okay. Oh yeah, Zdarsky's Batman run. He wrapped it up. He finally wrapped up everything with Zur and R, and then he had to have one last arc left because he was doing that to buy some time for Hush 2.
Yeah, exactly. And boy, did that help. And yeah, NJ, that is a good point. His DCU workload is taking up the space, so that is.
But that's not a guarantee. Still, they could do more fill-in arcs just to give him time.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee, and again, it also depends on how long the Wonder War arc is. There are people trying to say it's gonna be 50 issues, so he gets to 100. I'm like, no, there is no way.
First of all, one day wouldn't even allow him to take Wonder Woman off the board that long.
Yeah, most likely it's going
12
at the very least. Like this way, the maximum it lasts up to issue 50.
Up to issue 50, so 20 issues possibly, but that'll be pushing it.
I would say 40 to 45, and if it's at 45, they'll let them do like one small 5-issue arc to wrap up the story. That's what I'm like. They're not gonna want to like. They're not gonna want to lose the opportunity to end it at 50.
Yeah, definitely. Can we agree to that? Kings at the most is going to end at 50.
And which, here's the thing, that's not any run to sneeze at.
Oh no! Right now, he's already reached that point where there's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, exactly. 40 is my guess. 40, I think, is 45. I think would be the earliest. That's my personal opinion on that. But 40. Again, it's hyper dependent on how long, because remember, he's entering the run on 31.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, let's see. So I highly doubt they'll make an arc 9 issues.
No.
And they're not going to end it on 41.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to end it on 41. And again, it depends. They might again do more fill-ins if King keeps getting flogged.
Yeah, but here's the thing with the fill-ins, isn't that one of the contributing factors to how his Batman run collapsed?
No, he didn't have, because he was still writing. It was artists that were changing. They weren't fill-ins.
That's what I'm saying. But because it's like you lose that singular creative vision.
That's true. But from what I understand, editorial are not against. They do not judge the main run based off if they have a fill-in writer.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. If they have a fill-in writer to give him a break, that's pretty much like saying, like, again, they're doing it to let him continue on.
But here's the thing, though. If those fill-in writers consistently and dramatically, it would have to be dramatically, increase the sales, and then the sales return to their stagnant levels with him.
We don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah, let's wait till we get to 70.
Again, we don't know that that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's like the other thing to think about.
Okay, But if the fill-in artists go bring it down, and then when he comes back up, it comes back up.
Then that's the thing. But here's the thing again. So it's like, okay, he comes out at 31. I would say, and there's no way it's like 4 issues. No way.
Not with how he writes.
Not with how he writes. It would most likely, let me put it this way, the earliest, again, I'm still hanging on 45.
45 for this arc, and he's giving 5 more to wrap it up, because I'm pretty sure he's here till 50. I'm positive he's here till 50.
Yeah, so we'll see. Regardless, I still say that this is going to be the last major story of the run. That's my prediction.
And okay, it could have different parts. It might end at one part of it and then move into a separate part.
That would suck.
No, what I'm saying is what they do is Matriarch in the future and then somehow leads it back to the present.
Well, yeah, so it's like...
That's what I mean by separate parts.
What they could do is, let's say 31 to like 35 or 6 is like the future stuff, and then like the rest of it is the present stuff.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Like the present stuff could be them determining what do they have to stop in order for like this future to never happen.
And often we're going to get more about... Here's something else you got to remember. Some of these, at least 1 or 2 issues going to deal with, or at least one issue is going to have to be told with explaining how the heck did we get here?
Yeah, exactly. Like what happened to Matriarch to make her so evil?
Exactly. I mean, we know part of it's because her mother's dead.
Yeah, but it's like she would be raised by like either Edda or the Amazons. So how does that work? Unless he's saying that the Amazons are still the bloodthirsty people, and I'm like,
nah.
And then NJ says consistently out of the top 50, finishing 85 to 86 is a factor that Wonder War is the last arc. Well, yeah, again, with the workload, I would say the workload, I think, is the main motivating factor that would be that.
But here's the other thing, though. I mean, constantly out of the top 50, NJ, what would determine if she wasn't even, if she was not out, if she was consistently out of the top 100. Top 50.
That's when I'm like.
Yeah, top 50, it's hard to even get there sometimes.
Now, let me tell you this, Robert. Here's the scenario where he leaves at 40 or like earlier.
Craters.
Yeah, if the Wonder War, like, let's say the 31 to 32 have like pretty decent sales, and then the rest of them stay below 100, then I'm like...
Below 100, yes.
The below 100 is the panic button area. As long as it's above 100, that's why I always say... for right now, yes, it's close. It's getting closer to 100. As long as it doesn't pass that 100, they're unlikely to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say with you, NJ, is that being 85, 86, as long as it's above 100, it's not bad.
And again, if it stays below 100, then that's the scenario where, as far as we know, they would probably say you're leaving at 40.
Exactly.
That's the scenario where 40 and again, NJ, that could very well happen. We're not saying that's impossible. We're saying that's the one scenario where the 40 happens so far.
Exactly.
With the conditions we're under, just saying. But yeah, and here's the thing. While Absolute Wonder Woman is a factor, the reception stuff for that's not the number one factor. Once it gets to the 100 factor, it getting below 100, that's when it happens.
Exactly.
But anyway, I think that's a good place to leave it. But yeah, so this was fun talking about the better children of Superman not Superman, Wonder Woman, just Wonder Woman. And as for Wonder Woman Wednesday, there's not going to be an episode this week because on the account that it's Christmas, there won't be an Under Two Capes. There will be a Comics League Dark because that's on a Friday. And then movie night, which should be at like 6:15, is going to be John Carter of Mars today. So well talk about that. King's fanboys won't allow it. Can they make a difference? Not, let me put it this way. Not if like the average person keeps leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not enough like King acolytes for it to.
There's enough to keep it where it's at. Let's be honest. It's enough to keep it where it's at compared to Clooney Conrad fans.
Because you still have the normies on board with it. Because once those normies leave, which could happen, it drops below 100.
NJ, we already said yes, that is.
That is the lead. That and it the workload plus the dropping below 100 equals him leaving.
Exactly.
That's the mathematical equation. But anyway, Robert, where can we find you, and what have you got coming out?
Well, first of all, are we going to do a movie night too?
Yes, we are. Tonight at 6:15.
6:15. So just getting back. I got a link down below. Got to start uploading a bunch of my PTNs actually, but got a bunch of them in the can. I'm hoping, but I'm now not certain if I'll have a Christmas live stream one or not. The factors is all I'll say. And I'm also starting to do Kingdom Hearts.
Hell yeah. Anyway, stay woke, everyone. Remember, Steve Trevor, Steve Never. He belongs in a hydraulic press. It's always the max about for life. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.